Hi guys, Freddy here. Welcome back to the desktop for another retro RPG. And this week I would like to present this Super Tuesday, the 1996 sourcebook adventure campaign pack thing for Shadowrun, released by Fazer. And obviously in the real world in 1996 there was an election going on. That was the Bill Clinton versus Bob Dole election, which Bill Clinton won. And in the Shadowrun world, Fazer decided there would be a presidential election going on. And this is a campaign pack set about this. But what Fazer did, which was particularly interesting, if I flick straight onto the inside, we can see there's this leaflet on the inside. To the UCAS Board of Elections, care of Fazer Corporation in Cermak, Chicago. Shadowrun absentee ballot. Candidates: Vogel Gray, Hernandez McMulkin, Booth Ekimatsu, Yates Pinchik, Brackhaven Agar, Dunkelson Hefner. I could not make it to the voters box because I will be out of town, will be in the Matrix, I'm having a cyber implant installed, am incapacitated, will be on a run. Other. And you fill in your details. Ballots must be in by 1st of August 1996 to be eligible for prizes. Win big with your candidate, win bigger with the winner. So the idea of it was that people who bought Shadowrun sourcebooks, because that wasn't just in Super Tuesday, that was in a number of sourcebooks throughout the year, the purchasers of the books could vote in the Shadowrun election. And at Gen Con, I believe it was, or one of the big gaming conventions, the Fazer staff gathered up the ballots which had been returned to them, counted them up, and declared the winner of the election, which, unsurprisingly, because they're offering extra prizes for selecting the person who would win, and they've got a big name on the front of the book, Dunkelson won. Because out of all the other characters, nobody had really heard of any of them. Dunkelson was quite famous within the Shadowrun world. He's one of the great dragons. He was the media dragon, the most friendly of the dragons. So Dunkelson was the only famous character in it, and he won the election, voted for by readers or purchasers of Shadowrun Adventures. And I think that was a fascinating idea, to have a real-world influence on an in-game event. Now, of course, after he was elected and after he became US president, in Shadowrun, Dunkelson the Dragon was assassinated. He was president for a matter of 6 hours or something like that, and as he was leaving to enter the White House after the celebrations, his car was hit by missiles with magical warheads or something like that, and the great dragon, who was in human form at the time, was killed. So that led on to many other things with the book Portfolio of a Dragon, I think it was called, which was Dunkelson's will, where he left secrets and ideas set up for Shadowruns. And that was a really interesting thing. But we're dealing with Super Tuesday now, so let's have a look at the back cover. So, vote early, vote often. Vote the way the troll with the gun wants you to vote. Rebuild America, vote Yates. Dunkelson for president. Vote Vogel in 57. Vote James Booth for president. Sure, running against the corpse is hard, but there's nothing in this world slimier, colder, and deadlier than taking a run for some political slag. Your pawns, toys, mice at the mercy of a fat and nasty cat. They say never trust a dragon. I say never trust a politician. Well, that seems good advice for everybody. But I'm Mr. Brackhaven, a return to glory badge. Super Tuesday is a collection of 5 Shadowrun adventures set during the chaotic United Canadian and American States election of 2057. From breaking into Bug City, to stopping a psycho-toxic shaman on a death mission, to tangling with a secret society on a quest for a magical talisman. The player characters find out what it means when politicians enter the shadows. Super Tuesday is intended for gamemasters and players of all experience levels, for use with Shadowrun. And the events of this book do play into how the election played out, because there were other source books which told stories throughout the election period. I can't remember which of it, but I'm sure there's one of the candidates gets killed because of the events of one of these Shadowruns, and therefore they drop out and their vice president takes over. And if we flick into the book, Super Tuesday, the introduction, and we've got Strange Bedfellows, a prologue, and we go through the different candidates in the election. Casualties of War, Ghost Story, Dunkelsen, Worm Talk, and Dry Run. Events and background at the start here. So we've got this typical introduction to the book, as if it's all information uploaded to Shadowland. An introduction talking through how it would be games mastered. Now obviously it's an adventure, so I'm not going to dwell too much on what happens in these. I suppose you could still run it even though it is now historical. But we've got the election of 2057, the candidates. Arthur Vogel, the Democratic One World Party. He's a dwarf from Ontario, the only metahuman presidential candidate aside from Dunkelsen. Does it say what he's after? His platform. His message revolves around the overriding need to save Gaia from destruction. We've got Dr. Rosalind Hernandez. New Century Party is a loose coalition of disaffected technocrats who jumped ship in the wake of the rigged election scandal. Their platform, they play on the future of the theme of magic and technology working in harmony to create a brighter future for everyone. We've got General Franklin Yates, a retired UCAS general. His platform, he's a hawk and makes few apologies for it. His platform calls for rebuilding the shattered nation of America, the once shining star of freedom and liberty. Kenneth Brackhaven, the Arch Conservative Party. And his platform is... Brackhaven is raising public opinion against magic, metahumans, and other facets of the awakening. So he's the racist one. And we've got Dunkelsen, who's independent. He's a great western dragon, at least 7,000 years old, and possibly far older. That's one of the facts I like. I've obviously did some research on this to read up and refresh my memory, because 1996 is a long time ago. And I'm amused by the facts about Dunkelsen, that he's the oldest candidate to run for US president, or UCAS president, at 7,000 years old. He's the biggest at 80 meters long, or whatever he is. I was definitely amused. Platform. Dunkelsen campaign does not turn on the dragon's exotic, fantastical nature. Instead, the dragon proposes to remind UCAS of what made it great in the past. Canadian-American ingenuity, and the ability to believe and act according to an ideal. So, let's be honest, he's running on the platform of being cool. We've got Strange Bedfellows here, so the start of an adventure. With lots of background things, monitor calls. We've got Arthur Vogel, detailing his background. We've got political poison. With the introduction, a couple of encounters throughout. Toxic candidate. So they find out that one of them is a toxic shaman, perhaps? Picking up the pieces at the end of the adventure. Some NPCs. Rosalind Hernandez, who looks like her eyes are being censored out all the time. That looks very much like a Judge Dredd kind of character to me, rather than Shadowrun. Strange Attraction. I'm just skipping through, because as an adventure, don't really want to spoil much. Deadly Nightshade. Good Night, Gracie. Because obviously as an adventure, this hasn't been read much. The spine isn't broken, so it's spring enclosed. James Booth and Franklin Yates. General Franklin Yates, an American hero. Casualties of War. So probably digging out some secrets on what Yates has done in the military in the past. Running the Wall. UCAN's military blockade of Chicago is described in Bug City. After all, who breaks into Bug City? So you're breaking into the city, and one of the sort of human settlements within Brackhaven, ghost story. Looks like they're breaking into a hospital or something. So, most of the book is taken up with the adventures. Not very high karma paying ones from the looks of things. Offering only like 4 points of karma there. We're on to Dunkelson for president. And the final adventure in the book, Dry Run. Always fascinated by humanity, the great dragon Dunkelson has made a hobby of examining the quirks and foibles of Homo sapiens for quite some time. He's come to rely on the inventions of SimSense and virtual reality as his best routes for the study of human condition. The artwork is alright. I'm not massively impressed. But the concept itself, I am fantastically impressed with. The whole idea of basing it around a real-world event that was taking up everybody's attention at the time. And I love the fact that this exists. The way they built up to it was spectacular. The putting in the voting certificates. So long before this book came out, you did start to get the idea that something was going on, because you would open up your rulebooks and there'd be those leaflets inside asking you to vote. But I think I've witted on quite long enough without trying to reveal too much about the adventures themselves. It's a fun source book with a really excellent concept. I highly recommend it, as I do with most of the things in my collection. But please like and subscribe if you like me talking about these kind of things, as it does me massive favours with the YouTube algorithm. They look favourably upon me for your actions. Please comment down below if you think I shouldn't cover adventures, you think I should do more source books, although this one did kind of have a source book element at the start of it, even if it is just to set up the campaign and adventures within. But most of all, you look after yourselves, and I'll catch you later. Bye now.